Okay, now we start the last part of today. That is Homestead's cultural dimensions. Cultural dimension. We talk about individual personality and values, but uh, you know that this world is having 195 countries. You believe that these people are all same? No, they are behave differently in each. Why? Because each country has different cultural values. The simple meaning is cultural values are shared belief of a society. Cultural values are the shared belief of the society. Then how people in the country lives and think. Now even we all country actually not we are blame to the country, we are blaming to our culture. Right? So basically these value shapes the communication, decision making, team working, conflict handling, and sometimes are uh, culture values of a country. For an example, in Sri Lanka, we show a lot of respect to the elders. But in Western country, people call their boss by the first name. In calling Sri Lankan boss Machan Suni, you, you will end up your career next day. So that's you see the culture change everything, right? Culture change everything. Another example, Western countries encourage open disagreement, right? But Asian countries avoid confrontation and respect hierarchy, high power distance. That means people and the power you can't criticize them in front. Okay? So it's again culture. We are not going to talk about the where that. So, but basically, in different countries, our own cultures. Researcher. I think by the name you can understand, right? The Dutch researcher named Greet Hofstede studied around the world. IBM was the one of the largest organization in the world, I think, before 1980s and 1990s. They are the main computer supplier for not the computer, all the computing related equipment supplier for the world for a generation, right? That this greenhouse doesn't didn't. Uh, he studied the people working in this IBM. He collected data like say 100,000 employees data. So then he studied all these data. Study he found six major types cultural dimensions that influence behavior. So those are the things you can see in the green slide. So they are power distance and individualism versus collectivism, masculinity versus femininity, uncertainty avoidance, long term versus short term orientation, and the endurance versus resistance. Right? So, uh, so we'll talk about all these one by one. First of all, we talk about the power distance. Power distance. Power distance describe how much a society accept inequality between people. Inequality, right? So that means uh, in Sri Lanka, when a boss enters to the room, everyone adjusts their seating position, right? I mean, Allah. So they are adjusting their seating position. Or sometimes we are standing now. As well as no one asks direct questions. People say yes, sir. Okay, sir. Even if they disagree. So that's the nature of this high power distance. High power distance. There people accept this hierarchy. Boss is the boss, right? No other words. Manager is the manager. Employee wait for orders. Don't question authority. So this is the high power distance. They think that the employees thinks that management does know everything and anything. What they have to do is do the works which management is asking to do. Okay, so it's not common in Sri Lanka. It's common in India and Malaysia. Not only that, China also say. China also says. How about the low power? For say, like in the meeting, one of the employee may say to the CEO, "I don't agree with that idea." So then, as a reply, hmm, let's discuss it. Let's discuss that idea. So, can you imagine that? Is it happening? I think not. So, what is the low power distance mean? People prefer equity. Basically, it says employee question the managers, and the communication is open. If you are doing ask question. So basically, in the Western Netherlands, these things are mostly. So you see that when we are talking with the people in two different countries, how to address them, how to write an email to them. So that kind of thing you should consider when you are drafting messages, having a record discussion, other thing. Because if we, so I have visited a couple of European universities. When we are that senior professors like sir and sir and sir, they a bit irritating because people who have visited the Sri Lanka and gone back, there is no very big problem. But the people have who never had Sri Lanka, never came to Sri Lanka, they feel right. So therefore, to remove that one, we have to think of the way we should talk to them outside of the subject. But basically, that's the idea. The next one is individualism versus collectivism. This describes whether as individual group. So this is very nice thinking, right? How we people are think. Are they individuals or are they people in the group? Basically, that the large people who are having all the things without any problem, right? Like USA and UK and other countries, basically employees are negotiate their salaries individually. Salaries, they are talking, they basically say, I need to praise because I perform well in this. Not the organization and other thing. Sometimes organization is going down, but the worker has done lot more. So he is demanding his salary to be increased. So in this mechanism, individualism, people focus on the personal growth, independence and freedom are important thing in that particular case. They value it. But the collectivism, Basically, we say um, we design together, we decide together. Uh, even say like a decision discussion at interview. So you have to work at least 3 hours per day, 3 hours per 3 hours night shift in once a week or whatever the condition put. So the interview person is not going to give an answer. He need to consult his amma or mother or father or husband or wife or somebody to get the consent. Why? They are not a single person. They are a group person of a group. They can't make individual decisions. So basically, people focus on group harmony are going under this collectives. So their team or their family come first. Not only that, decisions also made collectively. They made the decisions collectively. So this is happening in the countries like Sri Lanka, China, and Japan, that kind of countries. Now we know that individualism and collectivism. Now we look at masculine culture and the feminine culture. But don't misunderstand these terms. They don't refer to the male and female. They refer to the society's value, right? So masculine cultures, like the countries in German and say Japan, they value the competition, success, achievement. People basically they aggressive about their goals. Therefore, the long working hours, high pressure, high ambition, those are very common in that kind of countries, right? But in the feminine cultures, they value cooperation. They value the cooperation, relationship, and the quality of the life. So, for an example, Sweden, the nOV. Work-life balance is very important. People take long parental leave. So I have been to a couple of countries in the Europe. So you believe that Germany also, and not like unlike Germany in the Austria, they have closed all the shops on Sundays. Not only that, the families and the family groups are getting together either in their homes, if the sunrise gardens and public places, and enjoy the life. Workers are to will rarely the shop larger shops and other things they all are closed. They all are closed. So what is this? Value the cooperation. They value the relationship. They value the quality of life. Okay? So I don't know. Sri Lanka is under which we are in the both the thing or we are mix up all these things. But one of my researcher, one of my colleague went to the India for research kind of a work. So the professor of that particular university, they work throughout the clock. Not only him, there are a number of people in the particular university, the professors, then the labs and other things, all are open throughout the clock. Always students are there. They are doing different research. What is this? So they think the success is the achievement and the performance. But in the feminine cultures, we think the success is the quality of life. I think in Sri Lanka, we mix up both. We need the success and achievement at the same time quality of the life both. Quality of the life both. Actually, when we are looking at all these things, Sri Lanka is more in the middle. We like competition, but we also care of the harmony. And we don't like to concentrate too much with all these things. So this thing we should completely understand, because if you are planning to move these countries, first of all study the culture, because culture gives you a much understanding what is your new life to be. What is your new life to be? If you are a hard worker, you better to go to Germany, Japan, that kind of countries. If you want to be having a standard salary and live and die without without doing very big things, so you better move to that countries like Sweden, Norway, and other countries. So this is my personal view. It may be really different when you are going to the real country. So 7 point uncertainty avoidance. This describes how much people fear uncertainty or unknown. Uncertainty or unknown. People want rules, structures, and clear instructions. They hate surprises. That kind of people are going under the high uncertainty avoidances. Right? So basically, in the Japan, all the things are written down. In the past, also same, the written down and the procedures are there. You have to follow them. So the employee want step by step instruction, and they want safety and predictability of the. But the is like Singapore or the Denmark, people are more comfortable with the flexibility. Right? They take that kind of things are happening. Employee easily adjust to a new changes at the work, but in high uncertainty avoidance, employee want to changing also they need to have the documentation. For an example, if you say like some process is going to be changed in that high uncertainty cultures, they are studies documented and provided to the workers. They follow that steps. But in the low uncertainty avoidance cultures, if they want to say something to change, they tell the employees, they themselves adjust and they do the work taking the risk. So the this explains whether people think more about the future of the present. Sorry, future or the present, right? So whether people think more about the future or the present. Basically, the long-term orientation people like South Korea, Japan, and China, companies plan for 20, 30 years ahead, right? So then people basically plan on focus on planning. Not only that, saving, long-term goals kind of a thing rather than today's winning. But in the short-term oriented countries like Sri Lanka, not only that, Pakistan, like regional countries, as well as US also same, they focus on the quick result, right? The tradition and the intermediate rewards they seeking for. Even the employees are required the quick recognition or rewards of the performance rather than waiting at the years and years. So we like, for an example, we like quick wins. If a project doesn't show the result in 3 months, we say we are doing the same project for years. No, no. So give me the next project, please. So that kind of mentality having in Sri Lankan context. They don't like to do the same work for years and years to get the achievements. That's what happened in our research also. Our culture is short term oriented. We need not to develop the fundamental theories in researchers, but we are very like to boasting or shine in the stars, stating that we have found this and that. So if you can remember, in Corona time, even school boys were developed the robots. Even school boys were developed the robots. Right? The universities also developed the robots. So what happened to that robot project? All stopped because when a, when I make a robot and contacting some kind of newspaper man and go to the newspaper and that the things is finished. We do not look at the sustainability of that product. We only look at take the recognition and the rewards. Right? So therefore, most of the time in short-term oriented cultures, we do half work. We do half work because they are shouted at the long-term orientations. Sometimes people don't understand what is this long-term orientation. Okay. The next one is individuals and restraints. So what it means, this dimension explain how freely a society allows employment. How freely a society allows employment. So in the indigenous countries, the rest rules about fun, right? People enjoy very openly, like say like USA, Mexico, weapons are open, guns open, prostitution open, all things are open. If I say it's an enjoy life, they are enjoying that life openly. But restrained cultures, basically people control the desires and fun is limited by rules and traditions. Especially Sri Lanka is one of the country, but especially you think like that and North Korea, that kind of countries, the restrained cultures are existing. For an public, we look at them and like, why is laughing so much? We are a restrained culture, right? So it is not good to laugh in the public, especially if a girl is laughing. We too much worry about that. She is not a good person. She is laughing in front of all the people. What is this? So that's the idea where the restrained cultures are having. So next one is practical application for the managers. Now we know that different ways of uh, cultures are there. Different ways of cultures are there. Right? Practical application of managers. First of all, to use offset wisely, right? Try to understand. Adjust the communication style because it is the most important thing of any kind of culture. Culture is based on the communication. As well as we have to respect these cultural differences. Cultural differences we have to respect because nation is where it's because we cannot compare to the two different things very unique for the countries. Then modify leadership according to the culture. Now you are going to put up a branch in India, you have put up the branch in North Korea, branch in say like Sweden. So you have to leadership. according to that particular culture. That country, I mean, that the power hierarchy is happening, so trying to be open and so and so. You, sometimes you could not manage that particular organization in that particular country, right? Then build culturally diverse states. Most important thing is this: if the people from a different countries, you better to have then reduce the conflict caused by misunderstanding. So first of all, you have to make your different thinking pattern. Think of you are managing a Danish export, say like low power country is very different from the managing Sri Lankan employee because it is high power distance, right? If you talk like a strict Sri Lankan manager, then Danish person may think you are rude. If you talk casually like Westerners, Sri Lankan employee might think you are too relaxed according to the country, according to the. So with that, I come to the uh, conclusion. So what we have learned here, the culture shapes behavior, right? Holmes had identified six key dimensions. We understood that Sri Lanka is in high in power distance and collectivism. Understanding culture helps reduce the conflict. That's our requirement. Manager must adapt leadership to cultural expectation. So I think this is one of the most practical tool in global management because the e-governments are now we have to work with not only the Sri Lankan countries, Sri Lankan people. So you have to work with a number of people from the different personalities, emotions, traits, and other things. Therefore, understanding of this subject is very much indeed requirement because being a MBA e-governance degree holder, you are going to change your organization with the implementation of electronic system. Simple, the electronic system. You can see it as AI system, software system, whatever system. Fundamentally electronic system. So then what you have to do is you have to understand the inside people behavior. Otherwise you are going to make a very big fuss in your organization. In your organization. Understanding of this entire slide set is very much important. Then I will stop the class now, but I will share the another set of uh, done to understand today's subject. So I hope you will share that information or share that assignment works once you finish this classroom. Okay. So if you're having any question, you can type here, or we can finish the class. This is the task. So where you find personal job fit, JP fit of yours. So what you have to do is you can use the AI tools to match your personality with this suitable jobs. So what you have to do is the prompt. Sorry, the I write it as prompt. So the prompt should be the based on the personality you described earlier. So that the previous one you copy it. Match with me suitable career using Holland Rayset model and explain why each job fit my personality. Right. So not only that, you should use very simple English and local Sri Lankan job example, because sometimes when the AI tool is going to explain something, it is going to give you the very advanced English words, because this subject is something different subject. So therefore, he using the jargons. So stopping the using the jargon, we basically use ask to a simple English to be used. And not only that, we ask the AI tools to limit the Sri Lankan context for the job examples. The next work is check your person organization fit. Now, organization through the internet where publicly shown, say like a bank or education one or large fabric organization or whatever the government or whatever the organization, then you know that your personal values, right? So your personal value should be write down there. Here is my personal values, and then you write down here is the organization mission, vision, and culture and other thing. Please compare my value with the organization value and tell me if I am a good fit. Explain yes or no clearly. So now with that, you will be asking. You will provide your personal information. Actually, provide all the personal information, but say like a information. So it will match with the cultural thing of the organization, and he will give a nice explanation. So what you have to do is, once you come across with this type of out from the A, you have to match with the actual theory, what it's saying, and so on. Now the fourth task is to learn difficult cultural differences using AI, the homestead one, right? So basically, you took a country and compare it with Sri Lanka. So it's very easily you can do. So compare the Sri Lanka and say like Japan using the Housework six cultural dimensions. Explain how these differences will affect teamwork, communication, leadership, and meetings. So again, you say that use the Sri Lankan use the simple English, the Sri Lankan workplace example. And I think those are the four works you have to do now and upload to me. Then I will finish the lecture now, but I am waiting for you to upload the assignment works.